A newspaper best serves the community when it serves as a watchdog. We are the eyes and the ears of our readers.
I don't see how free societies can exist without newspapers, because if people don't know what's going on and don't have some kind of an outlet to express their opinions, you can't stay free very long.
The newspapers in the state have an obligation to be vigilant for the public.
The advantage we have over all other forms of media is we are a permanent record.
Every newspaper has to be a business before it's a newspaper, because you have to make money in order to get your message out.
We are businesses. We provide jobs.
Newspapers are a very important small business in our West Virginia economy. They are, in some of our cities, they are major employers. In all of our communities, they have a major economic presence, and we need to fully recognize the economic value that comes from newspapers.
Since the days of America's earliest colonies, newspapers have helped people from all walks of life understand the expanding world around them. This exchange of information and ideas began with simple notices posted at the courthouse, and now includes the publication of thousands of large and small newspapers all across the country. West Virginia's 80 daily and weekly papers are vibrant contributors to the state's economy.
It's not just reporters, it's not just advertising salespeople, but we have a tremendous number and our biggest growth in high-tech jobs, both support of our internet products, but also in our printing technology has become much more advanced, and those are really highly skilled technological jobs.
I think that people that are on the street, politicians, your average reader, probably don't think about the newspaper as being a business. They think that, somehow this paper comes out and it's got this guy's opinions in it, and they slant the news and they want the bad news and all. But of course, the newspaper is a business. I don't know how many people work for papers in West Virginia, but it would probably be in the thousands, and yet nobody worries about the health of the newspaper industry like they worry about the health of the coal industry or the health of any other type of industry, because usually newspapers aren't the favorites of politicians.
Yet it's newspapers that get to the heart of complicated issues. It's newspapers that are the leaders in providing in-depth analysis of issues. Even with today's technological advances in news delivery, it's newspaper reporting that helps dissect fact from fiction.
Newspapers really also help keep the people who live in a community informed about what's going on in their community. And from our point of view, a knowledgeable citizenry is really the very best we can have. We need a citizenry that is well informed, that cares about its community, and that regularly keeps itself up to date on what's happening in its community and state.
If it wasn't for our newspaper, our population would never know what our county commission does, what our Board of Education does, what the people that are elected to represent them, what they really do when they're in office. They would only know what those people want to tell them. And in a rural community like mine, there isn't an alternative. If I cease to do it, or a newspaper ceases to do it, then that record is lost forever.
If you really want to know a community, dig into its old newspapers. There you'll find the news as it happens every day, stories that weave together the histories of people and events that make a community what it is.
And people in this state, they're such wonderful natural storytellers. They're honest and genuine in a way that I don't know if everybody in all other places are anymore. They really accept you into their lives, and they tell it like it is. They don't spin it, they don't put artifice on it. They're real. And that's why it's such a joy to be a reporter in this state.
From the coal fields of southern West Virginia to the cities of its two panhandles, newspapers are the mirror and the microphone of our towns.
I think it's frequently said that newspapers are the first draft of history. I think it's very important that they continue to fill that role.
Newspapers are an incredible collection of information every day. If you sat down and sort of went through it and analyzed it, you would quickly realize what a bargain it is for the 50 cents or less that you might be paying for it. If you want to take ballroom dancing, you can probably find out where to do that in a newspaper. If you want to find out information about candidates for public office, or what's on the city council agenda next week, or the school board agenda. I think we serve the community. There's just nothing else quite like it as far as the breadth and depth of the information that a newspaper provides.
Newspapers are the glue that holds our communities together. They help drive the economy, but they are also tellers of truth who serve the people, exposing those who would deprive the public of its rights, privileges, and property. And newspapers can redefine their communities by helping citizens to identify and solve key local issues.
I think most people recognize this as almost a quasi-governmental organization. In other words, they believe that they have certain rights with their local newspaper, and thus they have certain ownership of their local newspaper. And as a result, they are very demanding about what they expect in that newspaper, and they hold us accountable for that.
Newspapers found their place in the burgeoning towns and cities, each with its own values and standards. They thrived in this place called community.
We try to be a positive force for good things in our community. It's not necessary always for a newspaper to be the guy who's ragging on somebody for a job that he failed to do. I think a newspaper has an extremely important role to be a creative thinker, to be an organization that encourages other people to think about situations.
While newspapers are a great source of information, they also pave the way for progress. They are a medium for people to interact with their officials, a way for readers to talk to people that they otherwise could not reach. They are active members of their communities, concerned about the less fortunate and the future of their towns and their industry.
I think the public as a whole doesn't give the newspapers in our state and nationwide the credit they deserve for being as ethical as they are. And they see the newspaper as the bad guys against the public, when they're really there to represent the public.
In my community, I'm one of the biggest contributors there is, and you never see it in print because it's my paper, and I don't want to do that. But we give to the Little League, either in forms of printing or donations. We give to the bake sales. We give to the groups that are doing various things that are around the state, around our county and our community that people don't see.
We try to touch our readers' lives on multiple levels. We report the hard news, we report the chicken dinner news, we report the celebrations in life, and unfortunately some of the tragedies as well.
With internships and scholarships through the West Virginia Press Association Foundation, state newspapers are helping a new generation of reporters, photographers, graphic artists, and editors make their way into an ever-changing workplace.
In West Virginia, we don't have a lot of rich students, so the scholarships really come in handy. And internships and scholarships are a win-win situation. The newspaper benefits of being able to take a good look at a potential employee in the future after they graduate. The student benefits by gaining this valuable professional experience.
For generations, newspapers have been a credible resource for information and advertising. The industry will continue to keep its journalistic principles as new distribution systems are adopted.
If you think about a newspaper as an information delivery system and an advertising medium, then the same people can do the same work on the internet.
The most critical asset that newspapers have and the opportunity we have to leverage opportunities on the internet is our core fundamental news gathering and reporting. The internet's simply another medium in which to disseminate that news and information. Our franchise is a newsroom. Has been and always will be, whether it's ink on paper or whether it's through a digital medium.
What I hope newspapers are 5 years from now or 10 years from now, that's the same as now, is an in-depth source of news, a place where people go for investigative reporting to make sure that their government is doing what it's supposed to do, is not wasting their money. And so as long as we provide that, to people, we will be an important source of information for them. They will come to us, whether it be on the internet or whether it be in our print version. People will seek out that sort of watchdog journalism through newspapers.
I've got a lot of faith in the newspaper industry. It's a challenge to respond to the demands of new media, the internet, for example. But that's good for us. We're learning new skills. We're challenging ourselves to respond to these changes. But I think our role in society is too important for us to just go down, down, down. I just don't believe that will happen. I think there will be change, but I think we'll adapt. I have a lot of faith in the great minds involved in this industry to get us through this time, and I'm certainly not going to give up on it.